Okay, my friends, this is really, really heartwarming, to be perfectly honest with you. I have a lot of people that have things to say that are not allowed to, nobody will listen to them. I at least listen to them. I want evidence. I want material evidence. Now, this is from Christine Borges, who is, she's been following us stuff for quite some time. And she saw the thing about the Sphinx and sent me these highly detailed pictures. Now, I can only do so much myself, and I'm about stressed out to the max. So I get things from everybody. What do you think? What do you think? And a lot of times I just have to really quick, boom, 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 because I just don't have time. But when I see something with this kind of detail, I spend the time. Now, what kind of detail am I talking about? Well, as I said, I believe this is an artery, and it's blown out, and this is all blood running down. We're going to look at this very carefully. She sent me a whole batch of pictures, and we're going to look at it real carefully. Now, I also believe this is a little blood vessel here, the occipital. It's supposed to service the eyeballs. And I believe that we can actually see the eyeball here as well. You see this back here, that little curve back here? That's the actual eyeball inside. And covered up with a little bit of, the outside of the eyeball area. And I believe this is where the cornea here, what do they call it? The center of the eye. I'm trying to have a hard time remembering what they call that. Anyway, you know how you got a central core of your eye, and then you have the white of the eye. This is the white of the eye, and the eyeball actually goes all the way back in here. It's eroded away. This is the cavity of the nasal entryway. I believe Napoleon's guys shot the nose off with a cannon back in whenever they did what they were doing. Now, let's look at how close she got, because now we got a blow up. All right, look at this right here. This, I believe, is an artery, and it dripped down, red blood dripping down here. Now, I'm sure there's a pigeon poop and everything else going on here, but there's, I believe the red blood ran down here and ran down below. So let's take a little deeper look. But don't forget now, this is what I'm saying was well, actually, you can see where this stuff is collected down here. You see how it actually running out of here? I don't see the other areas acting this way. It's coming right out from here and running down, and down below we see a little pile of red stuff, which blood is red, right there. And that's the nature of arteries and of red blood. Hematite. Hematite is very soft and movable. It's not like magnetite, the hard iron blood, because you have two types in your body. You have the red blood and you have the artery, the vein blood, which is in mud fossils black. So that's why we almost always see red and black. This is specifically from an artery. That will always be red. And it drips down. They flow. I have ones that had blood coming out of them, and some of them still have blood coming out of them now, after being sitting here for a very, very long time. It's inside of them. Now look at this really carefully. I suspect there was a little cut right here somehow, and that blood is really dripping right down there, and then hitting here and running down this whole area here. You see how it's a different texture than this here? Completely different texture. And it's coming right out of there. This is coming right out from there. And it runs down, and this is reddish, and that certainly looks red to me. I would suspect that is issued from that artery. All right, there is all kinds of veins and arteries because your head has to get blood like everything else, and you use a lot in your head. But what we're looking at is the superficial ones over here. These are the outside ones. And these, you see right in front of the guy's ear right there, down below, that red spot down below there? That's right here. This is the one I'm talking about, and it's drained the blood out of there. Something I want to bring up here, which is really important. You have to get down to this level of detail if you're going to be able to examine mud fossils. You know, they have the detail in them, extremely detailed. And I have found all these details. Let me just show you a couple of lungs. Now, you really have to get down to this level of detail where you understand the alveoli, the blood supplies, the fascia, the pleura, all the different coatings, the membranes, interstitium, all the tendon balls and enthesis points. If you don't, you have nothing. You have nothing whatsoever. You have a rock. That's what, oh, it's just a rock. Well, no, it isn't. If you know how to look at it, it's not a rock. This is a lung. That's a lung. This was DNA tested and CAT scan and everything else. It's still got the heavy-duty pleura, which is this coating that surrounds the lung. This one has no pleura left at all. It's down to the alveoli, and it had blood coming out of every one of these little red spots. You see those little red spots? And this here is the little holes, the alveoli. It fills in with silicates because of it's a whole different process between this lung over here and this lung here. And I had this one DNA tested, and like I said, CAT scan. It's got all the pleura all over it, which is this fabric that coats your lung, coats all your organs. And this is the actual blood that came out of there. Now, blood is inside these creatures, and it has a way of making its way out eventually. Like this was, I would say this was 3,500 years ago. This was entombed. When I took it out, the blood came out. This is the same thing, 3,500 years ago. As flat as a pancake. All my stuff is. And it all still has blood inside of it. Blood is one of the most enduring substances on the face of the planet. People think, oh, the blood just goes, oh. No, it's exactly the opposite. See, this is the pleura, which is on that lung. This is literally raw red blood. You scrape that off. What I usually do to get, well, what I always do is I clean off the surface and scrape it down. Then I drill down into the reddest red I can get, and that's what I extract to get the DNA. So nothing's been contaminated, and nothing's been, you know, they did negative controls and everything. So all the stuff I show, I'm very confident is true to what I claim it to be. You see that? That's literally a vein. And this is the vein valve. It pinches and it won't let the blood go backwards. It can only come out this way. And this is the tubes of the veins. The veins will let blood, you know, the black blood come in. These little dots here are literally blood cells. You see them? See all these little blood cells? See them? Those are blood cells. And this is the vein, and it pinches off. If the blood tries to go back, it pinches it off, but it can come out through this way. You see, this just pops up. Shark, 439 million year old shark. They have no idea how old these things are. They're just lost when they come making all these statements. Here's another one, a bone I took out of the ground, and it, you know, you take them out of the ground, and they literally look just like rocks. No bone, although there is one that, you see that white spot there? That's still bone. That's still bone. And the inside is the marrow. Marrow turns black because it's like hematite. It's black blood. This is feldspar. The outside is feldspar. Always feldspar because that's where the membranes are. The membranes are made of collagen. Collagen turns to feldspar. Case closed. See that? I moved the scab out of the way. That's the fibrin that's underneath. That's the clotting fiber. And then here's the holes, the black and the red. You see the black is here, And the red is over here, the black and the red, that's the vein and the artery. And they're feeding through these bones. Okay, I was talking before that all the transition metals were washed out. That's all these colors. Now there are other crystals you're going to see, and I'm going to show you right now, that have all these transition metal colors within them. So these colors were trapped inside. And you see all these +2, +3, and all these different states? Something came along that wanted to attach with literally every one of these different states and every one of these different metals, and then it just removed all of the colors, and you ended up with clear. That's what these are. These are transition metal compounds. They move everything through your body using these different attachment states. And that's how you get things delivered and picked up in your body, through your body. So you're never stable. And that's why they try to find stability. Somehow they found stability that washed them out. Okay, you see this? This is another one that came out of an area where there's tons of blood, but you can see the different colored crystals in here. You don't always get the clear ones. All right, you see that? These are different transition metals that crystallized because they wanted to find their own buddies to partner up with to form these crystals. Now I have a little tiny crystal here that's a different color. You see the white going into the purple? It's up in the microscope there. You're really going to have a hard time seeing much because it's kind of shiny. I'm going to try to light it differently, see if you can see it. Now, you see the color here? The change in color, hold on. There's some kind of transition in this thing between, I don't know, you really, if you look real close, you see all those little dots in there and everything. It's, I think there's some kind of like a tendonish thing going into muscle tissue. You see this? It's like connective tissue going over into muscle tissue. You see it? And working its way into this red stuff, which I believe is muscle tissue. Things crystallize in very, very different ways. And it all depends on where it was. And in what kind of chemistry. Alright, this appears to be the white Naga. I'm 100%, no question whatsoever, that was alive. It has all the throat architecture, it has the blood, and it's a red-blooded creature. The back of its crown was smashed. You see this? It has like a crown that comes back with these wrinkles, and they smashed his head open, and the blood came out right there. Alright, this is the artery, and that's the vein coming up under the neck, and I'll show you the throat. Alright, the chin is right here. The throat is right here. It eats and the food goes down the throat. This is the tongue, and I think it was a forked tongue. It looks like it to me. These are something to do with the vertebra. Now, I'm going to clean that off and you'll see it. And it'll make a little more sense since I highlighted it, I hope. I don't know if you can see that circle and that circle right there. Those are something to do with the vertebra. This again, that's the guy's tongue, hung over like that. And this right here is the throat. I hope that's obvious. I mean, it is to me. I've looked at it a lot though, so. Alright, this is called a white Naga. This is about as best as close as I can get. Similar looking face. It has a crown around it, and it looks like the little hairs are coming out of the crown, and that's exactly what I found on Kim's head. It's Kim Montgomery, and she found this head, or got it somehow up in upstate Seattle area, or somewhere around there, up in Washington State. I get people sending me stuff, so much stuff that to look at, pictures, not actually sending me things, although people do that too. But mostly it's pictures, and what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And most of them think that they're not real, but when I see them, sometimes I find, yes, absolutely they're real. Most of the time. Here's another one I got from somebody. I have no idea if that's all I got was just a picture. I can't remember where it came from. But you got to be able to look up into the throat and so forth and find all of the anatomical features, because they're going to have them. Every one of them has the right stuff if you look in the right places. I believe this is on Easter Island. No question this is real. And when you see these little lines in here like that, that doesn't mean anything. That's how flesh petrifies. You end up with these lines through it. They look like they're not real, but they are. That's how they actually petrify. Another one, I have no idea where it came from or where it is. Now this one here, I don't know, that's over in Fontainebleau. And they have the most bizarre creatures there with all of these absolute, it's just insane. And this is what Ovid wrote in Metamorphosis. They could change these things into mushrooms and anything you want, these creatures could change into, they could morph. There's another one, don't know where it is, but I can tell you one thing, that was alive once. You see all that green growing on that face? Green loves red, fleshy blood. This one here, again, somebody said it to me. I have no idea if it's real or fake or what, but I tell you, it sure is an ugly looking face if it's real. There's another one. It wasn't carved just recently. If it was carved, you look at the stuff coming off. I don't know if it's real or not. I have no idea. And again, I don't know where it came from. I don't know where it is. There's another one. This is in Spain somewhere. Again, it's just sent to me. I have no idea where it is or who sent it. There's that mummy that they actually x-rayed. It's real. And there's the x-ray. It's not very big. It's only maybe a foot tall. I mean, there's the guy holding it right there. That's a little tiny thing. It looks like it was old. Okay, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I say this thing is leaking blood out of here. And it ran down, all of this is like run down there, ended up with collecting down there. And this was, I believe, at one time a living head anyway. I don't know if they mated it to this body or whether it was part of the body. These things are so hard to understand now. It's going to take some time to do some research here.